Hi, I'm Marsh from StrataGames, and today we're playing some more Black Sack. This is a list from Lucky Oscar, a player in the Black Sack Discord who plays quite a bit, and got 3 trophies in the last couple of weeks with either this list or a very similar list. The notable thing about these lists is that they're playing 4 Snarling Gorehound. This is a card that we've talked about a lot in the Black Sack Discord, and I've tried it a little bit on the channel. It's never been my favorite thing, but clearly Oscar's been having some luck with it, and so we figured we'd give it a try. And the other thing about this deck list is that we also have Soul Shriek. This is a card I also tried recently and did not care for, but I think with the Snarling Gorehound it could be pretty interesting. So it's a black mana for an instant. Target creature you control gets +X+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Sacrifice that creature at the beginning of the next end step. So the idea is that the Snarling Gorehound will be surveilling creatures into your graveyard, filling it up to superpower the Soul Shriek so that it can be more than just +2 or 3. Hopefully it can be 6 to 10 or something like that. We, of course, are also playing Supernatural Stamina because this card's very, very good. So we have those 2 ways as our main ways to pump up our Nested Shamblers to get a whole bunch of squirrels off of them, but we're also playing a full playset of Sadistic Glees in this list, which is also a card that I really like, and I've been trying to fit more of in my lists, so it's interesting. We'll see how that goes here too. For the rest of our fodder, we still have 4 Infestation Stage, 4 Nezumi Link Breaker, and 4 Shambling Ghasts, and then we're playing, of course, 4 Vampires, Carrion Feeders, and Beetles. We have all those other cards we mentioned, and then 2 Village Rites. This is a little low on the card draw. I usually like a little bit more, especially because we're on 16 Swamps as opposed to the 17 I usually like. But the Gorehound should ideally also smooth out your draws, because every creature you play after it is going to allow you to fix the top of your deck. Sideboard is nothing too strange here. 4 Tragic Slips, 2 Vampiric Link, and a Cursed Marauder, a couple Mesmeric Fiend, Drowned in Sorrow, Spinning Darkness, and Nile Spellbombs. So, pretty excited. Let's take this for League and see how we do. Thanks to Card Market for sponsoring this video. I've written a comprehensive guide on how to play White Weenie in Pauper, including my ideal stock list, over 30 sideboard matchups, and a sideboard cheat sheet, which gives you a very easy snapshot view and what to sideboard for every single matchup. I also have guides for Black Sack and Esper Affinity. Each guide is only $15, and if you buy one, you will get all future updates that I ever make to that guide for free. I also offer coaching, so if you're interested in upping your Pauper game for any of the decks that I'm very proficient in, or if you're interested in having me play your deck in a future video, you can do a deck donation, which is the only way you'll ever see me playing Cycle Storm or Flickertron. Alright, we are on the play here against potentially a Dredge player. Can't keep this one, unfortunately. This one's pretty interesting, so we do have to put a card back. We have double Gorehound, so this is generally a hand. Well, I'm not super familiar with this kind of hand because these are cards that I don't play, but usually I don't like to keep a hand with Beetles that don't have some way to sack your creatures. We do have double Gorehound, or maybe just one if I want to get rid of the Soul Shriek. Maybe just one if I want to keep the Soul Shriek. Which means I could maybe find the creatures we want. I think we're going to keep this and get rid of the Soul Shriek and do our best to set up our draws with the Gorehounds, because if we find a Carrion Feeder, the hand gets pretty decent, although we still want something to actually sacrifice. The dogs are okay to sacrifice, but not the best thing ever. But if we find a Carrion Feeder into like another piece of fodder, it could be really good. There's fodder right there. So now if we can find a Carrion Feeder, we will be, I think, set. So Infestation Sage, not really what we want. I mean, it's not terrible, but without a way to sacrifice, it's just not what we want. Plus, I think we're gonna see, we're probably against Jeskai, I would guess here. Maybe just Grixis, but let's go with the Nested Shambler here. We get double Surveils, and another Sage we're going to put in our graveyard, and a Shambling Ghast we're going to put in our graveyard. So that Soul Shriek would already be looking pretty good, but that's okay. We will swing for 1 here and pass the turn. Especially with the Shamblers, Soul Shriek would grow it, get us a bunch of squirrels, sacrifice to grow the Beetles, but we didn't know we were going to hit the Shambler. I will say, if we didn't have the Gorehounds and these were some other random fodder, drawing a bunch of more fodder in a row would not be very good. They are unfortunately our Grixis, and we have a Krark Clan right here. They're going to just play a Cam and just sack it right away, I assume. Wipe our Gorehounds. Yeah, not really a reason to play it otherwise. I mean, they lose 2 cards here for like 2.5, so it's not great for us. It's not the worst, I suppose. That is why we didn't play our Beetle right away, although I think I'm going to play Beetle Link Breaker now. Our graveyard is so full so quickly, I'm already thinking, like, what other things we could do with our graveyard. Like, Gurmag Angler is a card that I've liked as a one-of previously in lists, and it might be okay here. Obviously, it fights with the ability to use your graveyard in other ways. Okay, well, they hit a Mirror Enforcer, but then they play a Rustvale Bridge and a Synth Thoughtcast. So they're actually Jeskai Affinity, which means we don't have to deal with Death Touch from Krark, which is nice. Fortunately, right now, all we have is a bunch of 1/1s. I'm just going to play a Beetle. If they have another Krark, we're just going to lose anyway, I think. There's another Synth. Utra Monitor. I know that the list that they've been playing most recently actually swapped over to Unearths, and I think that is a pretty good idea because Again, we've already filled our graveyard so quickly. Unearth seems pretty good. It's a Glint Hawk. I mean, I really think if we get a Carrion Feeder or even a Vampire, maybe we'd just be in a pretty okay spot here. Stamina's okay. I guess we'll just attack with a Link Breaker. That's the only one that I'm really happy to stamina. They're just gonna block it. Well, we'll go for it. They Thoughtcast. They have an Enforcer and a Munitions. Only 1 mana up, but they could just pick off a Beetle if they want to, and they do. Razortide Bridge. If we get a Carrion Feeder right now, maybe we have a shot. Otherwise, I think we're just gonna concede because we're never getting through that. I mean, that hand was not the best thing ever, I admit, but we had a lot of ways to find cards, dig deeper, and we did not get there. All right, here we get Blood Throne, or we get Fiends. Tragic Slips I usually bring in against Krarks because of Death Touch, but they're not going to have Death Touch here, so I don't know if I actually need those. They do just have a fair amount of creatures, but I think that's fine. I mean, I kind of think, based on what we saw, we should have been fine if we just got a Grower, so let's just... Alright, this one is decent. We have our Gorehound plus Carrion Feeder sadistically. So I am going to start with the Gorehound, because if I play Feeder and they just have like Great Furnace, Scalp Blast, that's pretty bad. Obviously they're going to play a lot of tap lands, but I just don't see a reason to do that. Put in such risk right away. Plus we want to get the Gorehound down before we play all our creatures because that's how we get its value. Another Gorehound. Well, if I just Feeder and Sage, they could still Galvanic Blast it, although they would need 3 artifacts, which they're probably not going to have yet. If I just like Gorehound Sage, then I'm worried they could just like do the same Krark thing. Yeah, I think we're gonna Carrion Feeder. We don't need a 3rd Gorehound. Sage. I'm gonna say we don't need this Vampire, but if we lose the Feeder, maybe I will want it. Ideally, if this doesn't die this turn, I can just hold up stamina for if it does get targeted with anything. Synth into Ancient Den. Well, they hit something. Although, if they have like a tapped blue land, they might have to decide if they just want to play a blue land. Yep, they do, so no value there. Good. Link Breaker. We also have Sadistic Glee. Sadistic Glee on a Menace Gorehound actually doesn't seem too bad. Let's do a Link Breaker first, but I think I might go for that. Beetle's good. Sadistic Glee on the Gorehound. I guess we could leave up the stamina. I think we're just going to attack, and we're going to sacrifice 1 Link Breaker here so that our guys are 2/2s in case they do get a Krark. We're going to want to do this anyway. Also, we get to Surveil again, although we already decided we wanted that. Thoughtcast and a Synth. Do a Skyfisher. They don't have... Or they already played a land, I guess. Yeah, so they can't use it. We should just be able to kill here. Play a Beetle. Surveil. Fiend is decent. Pump here, because this is 5... 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so swing with the team, stamina the Sage, and then sacrifice it, get a bunch of counters. We'll surveil this Fiend to the top a million times. Alright, and they concede there. Yeah, I think this one should be okay for us because they're very slow. They don't have the catch-up material of like Toxin Analysis Krark. So as long as we stay above their Krarks that they could do, and also Galvanic Blast, we should be fine. But we're gonna mulligan that, obviously. This one's okay. I mean, it's decent. We have Shambler stamina, but Bloodthorn Vampire is just a little easier for them to play around. Get our Swamp back. Play our Shambler and pass. They Synth on turn 2, which they've done like every single game. Not game 1, I guess. Game 2 and 3. Seems like a lot. Ooh, we get a Carrion Feeder, so that's great. So I can Feeder and then go for the Stamina Shambler right away. So let it deal its 3 damage, then sacrifice it, bring it back. And then even if they kill the Feeder, I have a Vampire coming. I can use these as well. We're also just very wide now. A Krark can clean that up, but then we go tall, so they would need like a Krark plus Journey to Nowhere or something, which might be tough. Island. Cryogen Relic. Okay. I can keep something tapped for a turn, but not too worried if they want to do that, especially when we get another Feeder. I think we're just going to swing for 6, and then I'm going to play a Carrion Feeder and a Vampire, I think, so that they don't have just one clean target to tap down. They have to deal with everything. Galv Blast on the Vampire. Okay. They have the artifact, so I could sacrifice 2 squirrels just to keep it alive. Then we're down to 3 fodder creatures, or I could just sack it to a Feeder. I think that's better. If I sack 2 squirrels, like the Vampire's not doing us much good anyway. Like it could just barely get to lethal, but that's if they don't try to, shoot it again. Thoughtcast, Relic, Mirror Enforcer, we get another Sage. So let's just play both of those. Shows that we don't have anything up our sleeve per se, but it also just gives us +4 on either Carrion Feeder that doesn't get blocked, which seems pretty good to me because we're hitting for 6. To make it lethal, I guess we would have to sack the other Feeder, but I think that's fine. I'm trying to think of anything they could have other than a Galvanic Blast, which wouldn't be a big deal. I can't really think of anything, so we're going to sack the Feeder and try to deal him lethal damage. All right, we take the match. All right, on the play here, and this hand looks pretty dang good. Beetle, Vampire, and then just a whole bunch of fodder. We're going to start with the Shambler, because if I get a Supernatural Stamina, we're going to want to use that pretty quick. Although if they start with Fungal Infection, then they get to kill this, and I don't even make a squirrel. So I guess I should have started with the Shambling Ghast. We drew the Stamina, although that would still only give us 2 squirrels. Oh gosh, that's crazy annoying. I assume it's Gardens because that's the only deck I've ever seen play this. It's not a bad card in Gardens, but yeah, that is annoying. I guess I'm just playing a Shambler. I don't want to play a Shambling Ghast and have them pick this off again. I can't imagine they're playing more than one of this, but they could be. They could Defile, which would be really bad still. Oh gosh, I guess I'm just gonna Shambling Ghast. If they do another Infection, that's gonna be pretty annoying, pretty crazy. Of course. Why wouldn't they be playing all fungal infections? The somewhat perfect card to counter our deck. Snarling Gorehound. Right, I will play a Bloodthrone Vampire, and I will pass. Cast a Lembas. They're not only playing 2 of these in their main deck, they also had them both in their opening hand, or very early in their hand, which is crazy. Okay, Gorehound. We get a Beetle here. Surveil. Soul Shriek. Don't think is what we need. And we're going to have to get through these Saplings, so I think I'm just going to attack. If they block either, I can kill both of them with like the Shambling Ghast plus the Grow. Should I Stamina the Ghast? Probably. Let's do this. Sacrifice Ghast. Pick off the other one. Counter for the Beetle. Comes back. We'll Surveil again. I mean, I'm going to keep a Shambler. There was part of me that was like, well, maybe I want to keep the Stamina because we could get another Shambler, but I'd already gone through 2 of them, so what are the chances? I guess this whole game is, the chances are 100% for something that seems very unlikely. They're going to Fanatical Offering the Lembas. I mean, that's a good sign that we can maybe just deal them a ton of damage here. They are Gardens. They do have a plant, but I could pick that off. I don't imagine I could win, but I could play a Shambler. Each sacrifice is +3, so we get 1, 2, 3, 4. So we could hit for 15. Surveil sadistically. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm going to keep that. I was going to say part of me wants to pick this off just to get in for some damage, but I think with the Sadistically, we're just going to wait. Because I put Sadistically on Shambler, then it starts growing, then we make more squirrels, and it's very difficult for them to deal with us. That said, if they just like cast down the Vampire here, it's going to be pretty bad. No blocks. I might pick off the plant token to stop like another Fanatical Offering if they didn't have a map, but especially since they didn't block, they clearly wanted to keep it around, but they're going to map onto it, which is Cottage, the tap land for now. They are going to cast down the Vampire. We're about to get a Sadistic Glee, which is now not super helpful. I could get rid of it by sacking the Shambler. I mean, we're going to sack this to itself. I think I might want to sack the Ghast to pick off the plant too, and then just keep the Sadistic Glee for now. This Gorehound is interesting because this game I've seen something that I wanted like every time, but it's like, it's a thing I want right now. I don't want to wait a whole turn cycle because then it's less relevant, but whatever. We're in an okay spot anyway. Sack the Vampire to itself. They have another Garden. Well, then I'm going to Sadistically on the Shambler because if they want to block to prevent 4 damage, they're going to have to grow the Shambler. If not, they just take 6. And if they have a third fungal infection for this third Shambler, then I'm going to be royally pissed. No, it's just a Defile. Still the perfect counter, which I guess they didn't use on the Beetle, so maybe that's fine. And now we draw the Stamina. This game's outrageous. Crazy draws, but every single draw is 1 turn too late. The crazy draws because we've drawn like so many Staminas, so many Shamblers, all this stuff. Do sack their plants, so we'll get a counter on the Beetle. Hit for 1. They get a Lembas. Cast down the Beetle in the upkeep. So I could Stamina it, and then I'll probably draw something that makes that bad. I mean, frankly, it's not that best anyway, but we really don't have much else going on, so I think it's worth it. Plus, it does let us Surveil before our draw. This way, if we get like a Carrion Feeder or something, it's decent. Village Rites. Yeah, we'll keep that. They're bound to use a kill spell on another one of our creatures, and then it turns into 2 draws. Wellspring. Campfire. Swing for 2 and pass. Although that 2 is now offset by the Campfire every turn. Draw 3. Cast down the Beetle. We'll sack it to draw. Another Village Rites and a Beetle. I kind of expect them to like kill this and then play a Thorn. Yep, Tithing Blade. So the second Village Rites is decent. Although our draws, being a bunch of lands, it's not amazing. Wellspring. Okay, no Thorn is kind of weird. I guess they just wanted to Tithing Blade sorcery speeds they had to cast down. Fair. Link Breaker, Vampire, Beetle. Ended up with some decent creatures. Here they're going to Defile the Vampire though, so it doesn't matter. I mean, I kind of think we had the tools in the first like 5 turns to win this game, and then we just... I mean, I sequenced most things I would say improperly, but it was based on the fact that we didn't know any of the cards we were going to draw, and so everything was just... well, we don't know if we're going to draw this, so we might as well do this thing. And then we drew the card that we might have drawn like 3 turns in a row. So I'm on the brink of conceding here. They have 7 cards, and we've drawn a Swamp. Maybe the most frustrating game I've ever played. Get Mesmeric Fiends, and that's about it. Place of Shambling Ghasts. Alright, this hand looks pretty dang good. Let's see if we get absolutely wrecked by some crazy cards. Start with the Gorehound. Pass. I'm sure it'll be fungally infected. Yep. Nested Shambler. So probably want to play Link Breaker Carrion Feeder. That way they can't defile or infection for much value. Bajuka Bog and a Campfire. Okay, not the worst. Sadistic Glee. I think we want to just Beetle and Shambler here. Make sure we have enough fodder to keep our guys alive. Block the Link Breaker. Oh, I guess it's a 1-1. I was thinking it was an 0-1, so they trade. That's fine. I'm used to them having plants that have no toughness. Or no power, rather. So trading made sense. To some degree. Then again, they could have blocked the feeder. I would have probably sacrificed the Link Breaker, and they could have prevented the damage as well. They're just going to cast down the feeder. We do have a vampire, so it's not the end of the world. Now they have a swamp. And anything else? No. Village Rites. Pump the Shambler. I could play Vampire. If it dies, we don't have any way to sacrifice except for this Village Rites. I could just hold that up, but then if they get like a Drown in Sorrow... I guess it's not the end of the world because Beetle can survive with the Village Rites, but it's not amazing. They didn't use the Campfire. I don't know if that was a mistake or if they were leaving something up for some reason. Cast down the Vampire. If I just sacrifice it and they have a Swamp and a Defile, they can kill the Beetle, but I feel like they didn't have that last turn, so... there's no reason to play around it. If they had a Defile, they already could have killed the Beetle, and such as Cottage. Soul Shriek for +3. Makes a lot of squirrels. We hit for 8. Then I get to Village Rites it anyway. Probably worthwhile. Otherwise, I could like Sadistic Glee on it and then Village Rites the Mercenary. This is a little worse if they do get like a Drown in Sorrow. But that's already going to be pretty bad. I think we just do that and then go for the Rites. Make 5 1/1s, draw 2. Swamp. I could put a Sadistic Glee on the Beetle, so if they get a Drown in Sorrow, it grows a bunch. If they just get a Cast Down for it, then I still have a bunch of squirrels, so maybe that is worthwhile. They would need both a board wipe and a way to deal with the Beetle for it to be bad. But I could also obviously put it on like a squirrel, and if they just have a cast down, but then it just dies with the Drown in Sorrow. I think we sadistically this up. Maybe this is bad. It just feels like I said, they have to have both single target removal, which we've already seen that I don't think they have. Plus, they have to have like a Drown in Sorrow, which I haven't necessarily seen that they have either, but I don't know. Crypt Rats. Yep, that does block. I did realize they could block here and wipe the board. So they can survive for a turn, but at least the Beetle will be enormous. They've already used 2 cast downs. I wish I had like a Shambling to pick off the Crypt Rats, then we could just win, but we don't. Alright, it gets enormous. We do have a Link Breaker, which is nice because if they have like a Tithing Blade, then I have ways to stop the Beetle from getting bladed. They have another Crypt Rats, okay. Village Rites. I could Village Rites the Link Breaker, so they're gonna block, deal 1 to everything anyway. Probably. They might just Campfire. In which case I'd want a Village Rites. And if we find like a Shambling Ghast plus a way to pick this off, we could just win. So we should like Shambling Ghast plus Carrion Feeder wins us the game. And if we just get more fodder, that's also fun. Block. It will deal 1 to everything. But we got some more guys, so their Tithing Blade won't work, because I assume that is what they're going for. Wellspring. Draw a bunch. If they find like a Colony Garden, they could still block. That's what they're looking for, I think. Alright, we got that game. This hand is not good. Nothing does anything without fodder and sack outlets. This one is a no-lander. This is okay, I guess. Since I have a Village Rites, I'll put back 1 Swamp and, I mean, the Gorehound, I suppose. Mulligan to 5. Mulligan to 5 is never very good, we'll say. Infestation Sage. Whatever we play gets picked off, probably. I mean, I could literally not play something because they're going to pick it off, but I think we just let them do it. Let's pick it off for their 1/1 Fungal Infection, but they didn't have it this time, so that's nice. Sadistic Glee. Part of me wants to play the Beetle, Village Rites, then the Beetle's a 2/2. It still dies to just about everything. I think we'll just Shambling Ghast and then Village Rites. The reason I wanted to do that, though, is like if I don't get a Carrion Feeder, I need to grow this with every sacrifice I can, but oh well. Spell Bomb. Gonna Village Rites the Sage, because I'd rather be able to sadistically the Flyer, I think. There's a Feeder and a Swamp. Alright, swing. So I'm gonna play a Link Breaker first, because if I start with the Feeder, they could Defile it in response to me casting the Link Breaker. Then you want a Feeder, and then you want a Beetle, because if I play the Beetle before the Feeder, then they can kill the Beetle before I can do anything. And now if they cast it down, then, like, what are you gonna... I could sack it to itself, that doesn't matter. Well, so that would be a reason that I could Beetle first, and then Feeder, and they could have only cast down the Beetle. But if they had, like, a Defile, I don't know. It's better to do it the way I was doing it against, like, damage and, like, numeral-based removal, like Defiles, which is what I was playing around, but it's worse against the cast down, so maybe I should have done it the other way. So if I did Beetle first, and they didn't want to kill the Beetle and wanted to kill the Feeder, then I would have at least gotten a counter on the Beetle. Whatever. They have a Colony Garden and a Campfire. Just a Swamp. I don't think playing sadistically yet helps, unfortunately. Let's just swing for 4 and pass the turn. Wellspring. Another Sadistic. They'll block the Beetle this time. Take take 3. I mean, if they get a Crypt Rats, we're pretty much just dead. Another Colony Garden, map onto it, so they get a 1-2, which actually blocks pretty well. Recruiter's Bargain on top. They'll attack with an insect tip. Stamina, swing for 1. They're gonna campfire. Have a Crypt Rats. Fanatical Offering grows our beetle. Well, I guess I'm glad they did that. Although now they're trying to grow their Crypt Rats, I see. Slice from the Shadows. Can't be countered. Target creatures -X/-X. Doesn't seem very good, but I guess it's interesting. Crypt Rats for 1. But that's still gonna, I'm gonna ping off their Crypt Rats and then they're gonna Crypt Rats for 1 again. To kill our beetle, I guess. Whatever. No, they just let it resolve immediately. I don't know if they realized that was gonna happen, I guess. I mean, that's kind of the only way we have a shot at this. I could put Sadisticles on things, but it just doesn't really matter unless we're able to control what dies when. So I think we're going to keep saving them. But again, them improperly using their Crypt Rats definitely helped us. Or maybe they just thought they didn't want to go in for 2 because the beetle could have grown if I had a Village Rites, but that would happen regardless. I don't know. Colony Garden, another Stamina. At this point, I think like a Carrion Feeder would be pretty good because the least... Oh, they have another Slice from the Shadows. Can't be countered. Okay. For -4. I could Stamina it, but they have a Spell Bomb, so that probably doesn't matter. So let's just let it go. They're going to bargain their plant, I assume. They have another offering. Well, we know they have a bargain from before. So Bajuka Bog does make our Soul Shriek quite a bit worse if we ever draw one of those. They have another Crypt Rats. Map onto it. Again, of course, they hit. I can Stamina this, but then they just Spell Bomb it. They don't even have to redo it. All right, we're dead. Really weird cards in that Garden's deck, and I think we could have won given the right, I guess, I don't know. If we had played game 1 in a way where we knew what cards we were drawing, which we couldn't. All right, this hand looks pretty good. Start with the Gorehound. We're against something red. We will swing for 1, play a Nested Shambler, get a Surveil, another Beetle. I think I'm gonna leave that on top, and I'm gonna, I could play nothing is my thought, because then they don't have a way to, like, a good thing to kill. I could play a beetle to like draw it out, they kill this, and then I still have another beetle and a feeder, and I can Sadistically next turn. But the thing is, gleeing on a Shambler is amazing sometimes, but I actually wouldn't have the fodder to grow it, which means I actually don't really care to do that. So I think I might just want to hold and do double beetle feeder next turn. This also bluffs like a Stamina, so there's probably no way they try to kill our Shambler here. That would be silly, unless they had like End Festivities in their main deck and in their hand. Grab the prize with the Snacker. All right, they're tapping out, which is great, because we get to get down our beetles and our feeder without having to deal with them like trying to kill any of it in response. So beetle, I don't think we need another Sadistically. We already have one. We don't want a swamp. Carrion Feeder. Vampire's okay. I'd rather just regular fodder. But if they do end up killing this feeder, I think we'd want it. So yeah, let's leave it on top just to play it safe. I think we're in a very good spot already. So let's just attack and pass. But if they were to kill our feeder, we could theoretically be in a bad spot. Although we'll still be around left with like 2 5/5 beetles. So grab the prize, discarding a Lava Dart. Faithless Looting. I was just gonna say they might discard another Lava Dart, so I maybe should have actually sacrificed something in response, because now they could like, it's still not that bad. If they try to dart a beetle, I sack a Shambler. They dart again, I sack the Gorehound. But if I try to be proactive there, they could get us. They're gonna attack. That's insane. I'm pretty sure I just have lethal. They don't know about the Sadistically, but like, I do just have a lot of damage on board. Here's a Vampire. Surveil. That's pretty good if we do get to the next turn. So if I Sadistically on feeder, every creature I sacrifice is +4 to these, which means 1, 2, 3, 4 is 16. That's 19 damage, so that should just be lethal. And let's just make sure there's no way they can kill our thing. They could have a Fire Blast, but it's Fire Blast and Lava Dart. They couldn't double Lava Dart as well, so that's actually not that big of a deal. So yeah, let's Sadistically on here. Let's see, if they do it in response, we should do it on a beetle, because if they do have the Fire Blast in response here, then I don't want to lose the feeder. All right, now we sacrifice our Shambler first, because this one puts a trigger on the stack to get another creature, which means they have to respond if they want to try to keep our creature count down. Again, I'm pretty sure there's no way they can stop us here really, except for maybe a Fire Blast, which already sets them back enough that it's very okay with by me. And they let it resolve, so now we should be in the clear. Swing, sacrifice the Gorehound, and the Vampire. Hitting for 19, I believe. -2. All right. Nice turn 4 win. So, Vampiric Link, Spinning Darkness, Spell Bombs, no Rotten Reunions, maybe Tragic Slips. Like, all of these things are good to pick off their pingers. We don't probably need Shambling Ghasts. I can cut a Vampire. Well, with only 2 Village Rites in the deck, maybe I don't cut a Vampire. Usually I'm willing to cut 1, maybe 2 in my stock list, but I also have more card draw. Makes it a little better. I'm not sure the Soul Shrieks are really what we need. The game's not going to go crazy long. Well, I guess it's good with like a Vampiric Link. Well, it's decent. Gain a bunch of life, but I think we'll just try these 6. Not bring in a bunch of Tragic Slips and things, but they could be one lander, but we do have double Gorehound. So it doesn't help us find our second land, so I could be on one land for a bit, but our hand is pretty decent. I think we'll keep. Although if I want to prevent a snacker on turn 2, I'll need to Spellbomb. Well, if they put even just one snacker, but especially 2, we are going to Spellbomb on turn 1, which means we might be a little behind on the land drops, but at least we're not getting double snack. And if they go for a grab the prize or whatever here, they even discarded a Faithless Looting. So we don't get our card draw from the Spellbomb, but we do get to take away 2 lootings, 2 snackers. Pretty good for us. We would probably lose the game if they got both those snackers this early, especially if we're stuck on 1. We don't get another land, but we will just play a Gorehound. They plot a robbery. I'm going to go for another Gorehound on the off chance that we have... Alright, I was going to say if there's not a swamp for like 7 turns, we'll get there twice as fast. This could be a little bad if they like end the festivities, kill both our Gorehounds. I would have preferred to have like a Link Breaker or something that replaces itself, but whatever. We found our swamp, so we should start to be okay. They do have the Tectonic Hazard, which is basically on the festivities, so still not loving that, but we found our land, so it's not the end of the world. We'll play a couple fodder creatures. I don't want to play a Carrion Feeder that just dies to a bolt. Although I have another one and a vampire, maybe I should have. Another Flame Breather. This is when I would love a Spinning Darkness, for sure. They're gonna Highway Robbery. Sacking a mountain. Bolt to the face, 5. They just have another bolt and a Fire Blast. I guess it's their turn for an early win, and they always have a Fire Blast, so. Was this the nuts from them? Because I feel like I stopped the nuts, and then I still just died on turn 5, which is crazy. So that's a bit annoying. This is why I thought Tragic Slips might be good, because obviously if they get that and I don't have the removal, it's not great, but I think we'll just stick to our guns. We're on the play now. Ugh, this hand's not great. One more land than we want. We do have Village Rights, but like if we don't draw into our creatures, like our Carrion Feeder, it's not very good. Mulliganing is so bad if you can avoid it in this deck. I'm going to keep it. 1 Carrion Feeder, I think we're pretty good. 1 Vampire, we're okay. And yeah, that's about it. And another Swamp, of course, in our 16 land deck. I'll play a Beetle. If they just bolt it, I get to Village Rights. If they try to Tectonic Hazard it, then I get to Village Rights. It's the Sage to keep the Beetle alive. Although I guess the Insect still dies, so that's still not great. Highway Robbery. Discarding a Snacker. I should have probably responded to the Robbery, because if they discarded a Lava Dart, then I couldn't do this without them being able to kill the Beetle. Luckily, that didn't happen. Get a counter, draw 2, hope they're good. They're good if I get a Carrion Feeder. Oh, okay, there we go. Carrion Feeder, double Link Breaker. We get to attack. There's already like no way they can kill our creatures unless they dedicate like 2 or 3 removal spells, because they can be as big as like 7/7s. So I'm just gonna proactively sacrifice the Link Breakers just to make these big enough to outrace bolts. We'll hit for 5. Now I just need a, what's it called? A Vampiric Link, and we might just win the game. Flame Breather. Although the problem with Vampiric Link in this matchup, which is what it's here for, is that they could block with like a snacker and then like Lava Dart their own snacker so that we don't gain life. Can't do much about that, but there's an Epicure. If they tap out though, it makes it easier. So like a Vampiric Link would be a great draw now. Spinning Darkness would be okay too. Swamp's pretty bad. We'll attack with the Insect. If they want to block with the snacker, then they lose a jump blocker for next turn. If not, I get in for some damage. Yeah, they're going to jump block both of these. Actually, they do leave back the snacker, so they're taking 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11. So I'm 3 short. That's pretty unfortunate, because I cannot get there. So let's put them to 8. Part of me thinks I should maybe sacrifice a couple mercenaries just to deal a little bit more, because if they get a Tectonic Hazard, they're going to go away anyway. But if I get like a Sadistically, then it would be better to have them around. There's a lot of reasons to do one or the other. I'm just going to leave it though. They're at 8, but they got 5 cards in hand and a Flame Breather on board, so I'm not really feeling very comfortable. Unfortunately, when you're playing against Madness, you almost never get to feel comfortable at all. They're attacking with the snacker. That almost feels like to me they have lethal, which would be how? I would go to 17. Bolt, bolt, bolt would be 12. And then Fire Blast. That could be lethal. That's 17. You just have another Flame Breather. I think I might want to sack this Sage and then block them. Maybe they're just doing this because it comes back, but it's a chump blocker. Why would they not? Yeah. You can never feel comfortable against this deck, even at 19 life. I have the ability to block, so I think we do. I could let this go, but do I care? It's already tapped, so I might just want to sacrifice it to grow these. Yeah, because this is not currently lethal. Yeah, I'm just going to sack it. Hopefully that won't be bad. I don't know. Another Flame Breather. We're not dead. Give me something good. Sadistically. If I throw that on Insect, then I can pump it twice with Mercenaries. It's 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's not quite lethal. I can make both of these lethal though, so they'll have to block. And if I put the Sadistically on the Insect, they might have to try to kill it in response, which means less damage going at me. So I think we still do that. There's no reason to put it on one of the guys already lethal. And these guys should both have to block. Okay, they are going to Lava Dart, but they let the sadistically go on it. So that was silly, because now I can grow it, which I'm happy to do to try to make them spend more resources burning our creatures rather than us. And I'll pump it again. I mean, unless I'm getting played here, but I don't really see how that would be the case. The thing about this is that the insect is actually not lethal, as we talked about. 1, 2, 3. I can only make it 7 power until after damage, so I actually shouldn't attack with it because there's no reason to. And theoretically, the snacker getting in could definitely be lethal. Whereas these are both still lethal, so they have to block them both. And then I get to just let that go by. They're going to probably bolt me or something before they die. Maybe Lava Dart. Yep, there's the Fire Blast. I go to 11. They have another Fire Blast or something. I'll go to 5, but they have no mountains, so that seems not a winning proposition. They could just Lava Dart me, which is another thought. No, they let it go through. All right, I'm at 11. They have 2 mountains, Lava Dart, and I have lethal next turn. So I think I'm feeling pretty comfortable now, although again, that's a risky thing to feel. Highway Robbery. Sack a mountain. Blood token away a Highway Robbery. Just desperation, seeing if they can find anything. And we get the match. All right. It was a tough one, but we got there. All right. We have a 1-lander with a couple good cards. We have 2 Soul Shrieks, which feels like way too much. But even if this is a mold of 6, it's not great. No card draw, no fodder. We're on the draw. We do have a lot of the pieces we want. But these are basically doing nothing right now, so it's kind of already a mold of 5. I think we got to go down. This one's way better. Feeder's good. Stamina, Shambler. I'm getting rid of, like, sadistically, maybe? Because I probably want to play Infestation Sage and then Village Rites it. And then we want all 3 of these. Yeah, sadistically could be really good, but everything else in our hand is a little better, I think. Okay, well, they're Bogles, so in that case, we got another Shambler. I'm just going to play a Shambler. If we draw a Swamp this way, I get to, like, Carrion Feeder Stamina it next turn, and if we don't, I can still just Village Rites it, and we have another Shambler anyway. They kept us 7, so that's scary. We have no Curse Marauders in our main deck, which means we have to just be fast, which is going to be hard unless we draw a Swamp here. Colony Garden, okay, that slows them down a little bit. They could Rancor, but I can block, so no damage this turn probably. Or just Abundant Growth. Yeah, we got a Beetle. We got to just go for a Village Rites. There's just no way I can have the proper speed on 1 land here, so we have to hope to draw it. And we don't. We get more cards that are good synergy, but without a Swamp. Unless they have nothing, we're just going to die real quick here. Ancestral Mask, I mean, only 3 damage plus no trample currently is good, but who knows if they'll get all that next turn. Now we get the land, of course. I feel like it's got to be Carrion Feeder Beetle. If they don't have trample, maybe I can chump and sacrifice. And if I'm lucky, next turn I get a Swamp again, and I can, like, Shambler, Stamina. That would be plus 10, so I could hit for, like, 24 or something. That'd be pretty good. Rumble does not hit very well. Abundant Growth, probably. No, Utopia Sprawl. They want more mana over a card draw is interesting. Yup, Sprawl. I guess that's another enchantment, and they can still play like an Armadillo Cloak this turn if that's what they have. Armadillo is definitely the worst for us to see here, because then we're taking 9, I can't chump, and my like 20 plus damage is not going to be lethal. They haven't just slammed it, but looks like they're about to. We're going to need to let our Beetle trigger resolve though. No, it's a Ledge Walker and like an Ethereal Armor. Cartouche. Okay, this is great. I mean, they have a lot of chump blockers now too, but like it could be way worse. And we do in fact get to chump block this. This is why I didn't attack with the Squirrel. I could have gotten in for 1 damage, but on the off chance they did not have trample, we get to save 7 life, which is way more important. All right, give me a Swamp. Shambler Ghast is okay. So I could just Shambler, but if we Shambler Stamina, that's 6, 12, 17 damage, so it's not even lethal even if they don't block. It could be if I Shambler Ghast for treasure first, but then they're just going to block. It's not going to matter. I'd rather save that to pick off something later. I think I'm just doing Sage and Shambler and then attacking. We simply don't have the damage this turn, but next turn we can. It's possible I should have just like Shambler Sadistically, but then they just don't block and it doesn't do that much. They don't block anyway. I'll sack the Sage for a couple more damage, but that'll be it, I think. I guess we should do some math, because they could gain, if they have an Armadillo Cloak off the top, they gain 11. They go to 30. We have 27. Pick off 1 guy. Yeah, we're not getting there anyway. All right, we'll just, if there's a way I could ensure 30 damage, since that's what they could gain with one enchantment, then like I might try to do that. But with their blockers, there's no way we can ensure that. But they're just going to attack, so that is great for us. We are chumping with our flyer, which, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have sacrificed the sage, so I could have chumped there and then had a flyer for later in case they grow this. But I think trample's what we're worried about, not them growing this guy. Oh, although if they don't have trample, like that could get around. I don't know. Another bogle, another shambler. So I think I just attack, because if they don't block one of these, I can double stamina and I can win the, and they might not anticipate that. Now if they do block both with these two, then I waste the ability to pick off a creature with Shambligast. But if I play this now, pick this off, they block here. Well, actually, wait, I would still have lethal off of this carrion feeder, right? Because that would be 4, 5, this is 6, and this is a 7th, so that would be 12. So I can do that and force them to use the slippery bogle, and then they have no jump blockers for next turn. But I'm also using up all of my creatures, which means I'm taking maybe lethal if they just get not trample, but just another ancestral mask or something. So that's a risk. It's a risk that I don't think I need to take. Well, I guess if it wins me the game, obviously that's great, but if they do block, then I can actually just play a Shambler and that can block here. Okay, actually I think it's fine. It's kind of close, but I want to use this to pick off a blocker that I can target before they use them as actual jump blockers. If they don't then block with Plant and Bogle, I should be able to win the game. And if they do block with both, then I still just get to play a Shambler as our block. Oh, and I don't sacrifice this Shambler, so I'll have 2 blockers actually. So it should be fine, because there's no reason to attack with this one. Alright, they do block both smartly, and I'll just play another Shambler. But now that they have no blockers, I mean, they do have the ledge walker, but even if they get an Armadillo Cloak on this, hit for 11, I could still probably get there. Double stamina, that's plus 12 on one of these guys, so that's 20-ish from one of them. 23 would be hard to get to. If all they have is a ledge walker, that's pretty good for us though. They can attack with this, but then they gotta chump with these two, and they're down to just one creature. All right, no attacks. That means they're leaving back their 7/7. We finally get our swamp, which is actually great because now we get to sadistically up a Shambler, and with the double stamina on this Shambler can be enormous. So we can actually attack with 3 lethal attackers, make them chump with everything. And if they don't chump everything, then they'll die. Although I think they're going to chump, and block here, but not expect it to be a chump, because why would the 9/9? Oh, they don't. All right, well, we can, unless they have some sort of interaction here, sack the Shambler with this supernatural stamina. Million triggers here. Yes, grow the beetle. Sacrifice here, then we're going to stamina the Shambler again. Do it again. And I think we'll also have to sacrifice like the beetle at the end here, but we'll definitely be lethal unless they have a weird trick or something. This goes up to 11, and we'll sack the beetle, grow it to be 12, and hit for lethal. All right, they might have drawn a little unlucky, but really nice for us to be able to win that without having a Curse Marauder in our main deck. We only have one in the side. Mesmeric Fiends, we have Drowning Stars, which can clear some of those extra blockers. We have Vampiric Links, which can make us, race them. Those can all be okay. Shambling Guest is medium, I think. Can pick off some of the jump blockers like we saw, but alright, this hand is terrible. Only 2 Soul Shrieks, and we keep drawing them in our openers. No Carrion Feeders. Our 3-drop Drown in Sorrow with 1 land. Like, this is just not going to work. This one's not great either. 1 lander. Gorehound can maybe help us get there. Stamina sadistically, so we need to find a Shambler and a Carrion Feeder. Double sadistic, we'd probably put 1 back. I think we're going to go down further. We need, ideally we find our 1 of a Curse Marauder, 2 lands, and like a stamina to make it happen multiple times, but I just don't feel like these hands do anything. Alright, we have our Curse Marauder. We have a Mesmeric Fiend as well. We brought in 7 sideboard cards and weren't seeing them. I think we put back the Glee, and we just try to keep our interaction and our Gorehound and Beetle, because that can help us find something. Colony Garden, Shambler. If we're lucky, they don't have any addition. They have 1 Bogle, no additional Bogles. I don't care about tokens. They go all in on it, we get to Marauder it, but we'll see. Ooh, they Rancor the plant token. Okay, they're prepared. This is funny. They're prepared for the Accursed Marauder, maybe? They're trying to prepare for it, so they're attacking here. I could trade, because then they lose this, and then they don't get to Marauder it. I mean, I don't think I want to do that. I'd rather trade with a Shambler, but if I wait and then they Ancestral Mask this, and then I can't kill it anymore, it's going to be really bad. I think we're going to hope that doesn't happen, but I'm calling it right now that it very well might. We do draw our land naturally, which actually means I might want to Mesmeric Fiend. They probably don't have a lot of ways to remove it, if any. Maybe a Ram Through, in which case I can take whatever I want, even though I'm not sacrificing this. And then if they do have an Ancestral Mask and their plan legitimately is to buff up this plant, then I can maybe stop that. I don't know. Armadillo Cloak, yeah, I mean, their only creature is this. They have no white mana currently, though. I think I take the Ethereal Armor, because that way they don't have First Strike and can't get quite as big. So if they become like a 4-3, but I can block it with a bunch of things, it might be okay. But I have lost to a plant token before in the Bogles matchup like this, so I'm trying to not let that happen again. Infestation Sage, not really what I need. So here, I'll just attack with the Hound, because if they get a white source, they can make this big enough to attack past anyway. And if they don't, then I'll block with the Fiend, because then they get this back, but then unless they get another plant or another token, they're gonna have to go all in on an actual Bogle, and then we get to Marauder. This is a reason to also maybe not have taken out all of the Shambligast / Tragic Slips. They do get a Bogle, and alright, I think I am gonna block then. Like, it's so weird, obviously, but this is almost scarier than the Bogle, because I can kill the Bogle with the Marauder, and this makes them go more all in on it. I mean, this could be wrong for sure, but they also don't have white mana still, so that's helping. So I could obviously Marauder now. Like, I could Beetle and then Marauder, and then I have a 3-3. That's not terrible, but I really don't think I need to Marauder this. Well, it depends. If they get another Bogle off the top, it's going to be bad, but ooh, Vampire is really good. Although Vampire and Marauder I can't play next turn, so maybe I should have played the 2-drop. I don't know. If they get another Bogle to absorb the first hit of the Marauder, it's going to be bad. But that also means that they don't get a white source, so it's probably fine. Here's the Vampire. I'm also just going to attack with everything now. Soul Shriek is... it's not bad. It's kind of a bad stamina with our Shambler right now, but we can make it a little better if we really want. If they want to block a Beetle, that's fine, because then they just lose their guy. And now our Vampire can be a 9/9 on blocks, so even if they get like a white source for Armadillo Cloak, which they do if they want that, I can still just block. There's the Cloak, and this is probably time to just Marauder, because then can I just win if we Marauder? We kill this. This is a 3-3. Soul Shriek. Yeah, definitely. Because Soul Shriek makes enough squirrels, so the Vampire is going to be enormous. We'll also put this in our grave. We'll sack this. Get some counters. Soul Shriek here. Attack. I mean, this is already, what, 10 damage? But grow it more by sacrificing the Shambler, which is a 5-1 to make 5 squirrels, which is going to surveil 1 5 times. Vampiric Link, we actually don't need. I mean, we don't need anything, to be honest. All right, we got there against Bogles. That was nice. Seeing Soul Shriek do some work is pretty cool. I mean, we're already in a very good spot, probably won the game already, but still. Alright, we're on the play again. I think we've done that quite a few times, which has been nice. And this hand is decent enough. 1 land, but 2 Carrion Feeders if the first one dies. We have 2 fodder creatures plus stamina. We're going to start with a Shambling Ghast, I think. It's the most versatile card to start with. Not always the best, but especially in the dark. If they play a 1/1 that I want to kill, I could do that. If I want to play Carrion Feeder next turn and then sack the Shambling Ghast to get my mana back, play an Infestation Sage, pump up my feeder to a 4/4, I could do that. A few different lines you can take. Also could just block and trade with like a Tomb Raider or some other 2 toughness creature, which is nice. Play that and pass the turn. And we are against Jund, it looks like. No land, but a Beetle's decent. We're going to swing for 1 and probably play a Carrion Feeder. Jund, you generally want to be as fast as possible. They might have a Krark Toxin on turn 2, but you want to hope that's not the case. Just speed through. So I'm going to play a Feeder, especially because I have a backup. The question is, do I want to sack the Ghast to get a Beetle down? It means the Beetle will miss a trigger from the Ghast, but the next turn I can play a Sage, and I can have like a 4/4 and a 3/3 if I want. That's not bad. I like attacking. I think we will. This is probably not a hand going to beat a Krark Toxin early no matter what, because we're mostly all on the ground and stuff, so we're just hoping that's not the case. They do play an untapped black land, Snowland, so could just be doing this for fun, or they could be playing Fungal Colossus, which cares about the differently named lands. In which case, if they're doing Fungal Colossus, they might not be playing Toxin, because some of those lists didn't. Just going to cast down the Feeder. That's not bad for us, actually. Seeing as we have the second Feeder, plus since we play the Beetle, we get to sack it and to grow that. Swamp would be good. No Swamp is fortunate. We'll hit for 2. I mean, I could play another Carrion Feeder. If they just cast it down, it's not amazing, but our Beetle still becomes a bigger. I could just play a piece of fodder. I don't think that's better. Let's just go for Feeder. They do have an Infiltrator with a Landscape to get an extra counter, but that's not too scary. Gorehound. Let's just play the Sage. So this could become a 3/2. Could block the Carrion Feeder. Even with the Sage, this would be a 3/3. Do I want to not attack then? Because I would probably make that block if I were them. In which case I'd have to sack the Beetle, which I don't want to do. So I could just attack with the Beetle. I don't love that. I also am still on 1 land, so I could play the Gorehound, which is next turn going to allow me to start surveilling. And then it's only the next turn that I hit a land. I think by then I should probably naturally hit a land ideally. So I think we just play a Sage, because I don't want to attack with nothing this turn. But I do think I probably just need to attack with the Beetle, not the Feeder. If we lose the Feeder and I still don't find a land for the Vampire, we're going to be in a rough spot. I don't really think I can afford it. And I'm just going to let them take 2, I guess. Sack the landscape. They got a Wellspring. No Chris is nice. I mean, Chris obviously grows beetles, so it's not that big of a deal, but it also grows Infiltrator. Shambler. This one land is really annoying because I can't do this all at once, so I'd have to like play Shambler now, not want to sacrifice it, and then get it stamina next turn, but this could probably be a 4-3 if they have just like a Fanatical Offering. If I play a Shambler, I could probably attack with both of these. Let's go for the Link Breaker. If we don't draw Swamp, whatever, but probably fine. They could have a Cast Down, which would be annoying. I think we just attack with the team. They block the Infestation Sage, so I'll sacrifice that. And we're at 3, and this would be 11, so yeah, I don't have lethal, but they are going to take a chunker. I think I want to sack the Link Breaker too. Yeah, take 7. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. They might have a Cast Down or something, but no, just the Eviscerator's Insight. They should probably have waited till we dealt damage, because I could go more in now if I want, but again, it's still not lethal, so I'm not going to do that. They're just like showing us the coast is clear. All right, there's Chris. A couple chump blockers, but not too bad. Beetle still gets to attack for free. Feeder's pretty big at this. Another Beetle. I mean, we didn't hit a Swamp, but I probably play that because they'll grow it with their spawn. Our Beetle, like, they could double block, but that's fun. Just play Beetle. I should have mercenaried the Beetle first, but oh well. Swing here. They block with a spawn. They're going to sack it. 4 counters all around, but half of them are for me, so I'm not too annoyed by that. They're going to sack the other one, so yeah, more counters forever. So yeah, playing the Beetle first was decent, because now we have already a 3-3 that can now be like a 7-7 if I really wanted to go all in. We'll pass the turn. So obviously we would prefer to have more lands. I think we'd be doing better if we did, but just look at how well we are doing. We could lose for sure, but look at how well we're doing based on 1 land on turn 6 against Junt. Like, they have 8 cards in hand. That's true. They could definitely kill us. I'm not saying we've won the game. But we have a creature as big, if not bigger than their guys. We have another one growing a bunch. Next turn, we can play a Shambler, pump it with a Mercenary. Refurb, I think, is going to take this Empire. Maybe I just don't care about the Gorehound, actually. Because if they do kill the feeder and we get a land, I wouldn't mind another sack outlet. But, like, I, quote-unquote, famously won a game against Azorius Familiars where I had 1 land for 10 turns of the game. And I ended up winning. And it's because with the right cards, you can just do really well. Pressure them really quickly, put them on the back foot the entire game so that they're not able to develop their main game plan with their mana. Because if they were, they would be running away with it. But they're having to, use their removal early, block, jump block, things like that. That makes it so that they're set back. And, yeah, it's just really good. Map onto the Infiltrator. They are trying to get this big enough to outgrow our Beetle. Luckily for us, they hit a bridge, so it's still just a 7-6. There we go. We do have Cast Down mana up, but we're going to hope they don't have that. Mercenary, pump the Shambler. So stamina on this is 7 triggers, so I can make a Beetle, the small Beetle at 10-10. This is 10-10, so I think I can attack with everything. Well, all the growers. If they do have like a Cast Down for our feeder in response to stamina on Shambler, that'd be pretty bad. But I feel like they would have used it like on their turn if they had it. So I'm not gonna put too much stock into that. I certainly would have. I feel like more likely this is just a Fanatical Offering or the Lembas. They could obviously sack the Landscape to grow the Infiltrator. They double block the Carrion Feeder, leave this Beetle, which, as we talked about, can be 10 off of this, so it could be a 14 power creature. So if they don't have anything here except for the Lembas, this will just win. They have a Lembas? Okay, pretty sure this gets there, unless, I mean, they'd have to have something for free, which can't imagine what that would be. So sack the Shambler, grow the team, start sacrificing squirrels, sacrifice our insect, and they concede. And that is one of the ways you beat Jund. Moving to the sideboard, Mesmeric Fiend and Tragic Slip are pretty decent here. I think we're going to cut down on the Gorehounds for this match. Feels like we just kind of want to have a fast start. We still got one. We got both our Village Rights. I mean, this hand has some good value. It is not the fast start that I wanted. I don't think I'm going to throw back a hand like this. Obviously, there's better 6s and probably even 5s, but if I don't find one of those, it could just be really rough. We'll start with the Gorehound and try to actually get our swamps early this game. They have a Lembas, play a Link Breaker, Surveil, statistically into the yard. I think we might set upkeep stop. We could Village Rights in our upkeep for the Link Breaker. So we draw 2, surveil 1, and then draw. That would give us 4 ways to find a swamp for next turn. They refurb us. I think we're just going to get rid of a Link Breaker here for now. If I just draw a swamp, it might be a little better to do something else, but in case it's several cards down, we're going to Village Rights in the upkeep here. Oh, right, we surveil first, so put this Shambling Ghast into the yard. So it actually didn't matter. I didn't need to do it in the upkeep. And yet we were going to do it, and we found our swamp 4 cards deeper. Not going to Tragic Slip this, so yeah, let's just Sage. Surveil again. We're going to keep Shambler because we have the stamina, but we really need some growers. So this is interesting. Like, I will say already, this Gorehound has made this game... This guy's got Menace, but this card's not really something that people see a lot, so it's fine. It's already made this game more playable, because like if we didn't have that Surveil, as we saw, we would not have really been able to hit our land drop here. That said, I don't know if I would have kept this hand if we didn't have the Gorehound. I mean, we had the Village Rites, and I usually keep a one-lander with Village Rites, but not when we don't have any payoffs, so I don't know. So this seems to be solving the problem that we're having with this hand, but would we even have this problem if we had a different list and more land, one more land in the deck? I don't know, but it's interesting for sure. They only have one way to sacrifice a thing, so I'm probably gonna, at our end step, they're gonna sack this, and I'm gonna just kill the Infiltrator. I could also just like Tragic Slip. I do want to hit a land drop. I could also just start with the Village Rites. Well, let's do this. Let's pump here and then attack. I could attack with the Gorehound too if they want to double block. That's probably fine. Like, I'll trade it for the Refurb, but I'll also kill off the Gixian. I think that trade's probably fine. Yeah, or they just block here and take one less. That makes sense. I don't mind that trade. I was going to Village Rites, so am I going to do that on the Insect then? Well, let's just see what we surveil here. They're going to sack the landscape. Don't know why they're doing it now. I could kill this in response, but actually we're just about to have creatures die, so the Morbid's going to go off, so it doesn't matter, so I might as well get more information with like the Surveil first, just in case I want to change my plans for some reason. Another Shambler. I think we get rid of that. We want swamps and we want fodder, or not fodder, we want feeders, we want growers, but we don't need that. We are going to Village Rites this Insect. We still did not get a land. That's crazy. All right, we are going to... I mean, I can always Tragic Slip this later. Play another Gorehound to try to get our swamp. I think we'll do that, actually. It's always one card beneath where we want it to. All right, but now we should be able to find our growers pretty quick, ideally. Unless they just, like, Krark and wipe our board here. I could take a hit from this, but I can always just kill it later like we talked about. Like, killing it was enticing, but it's fine. Oh, they have a breath weapon? That is annoying for sure. Swamp, Shambler. I think we just pass, because if they have no way to grow this, I can block stamina. If they do, I'll probably just want to do it anyway, and then we can Tragic Slip it. If they have like a cast down or something for the Shambler, it's not great, but oh well. Spell Bomb. We'll still get the squirrels, but now they get to Spell Bomb away the Shambler coming back, which is really annoying because I wanted that for the Sadistical. Although, if they want to keep their Infiltrator alive, they have to do it before damage, which means that they actually can't get rid of the Shambler from the grave. Pardon the noise. But yeah, they are going to grow it to keep it alive, which actually means we'll get our Shambler back unless they also have something else. And then I still get to Tragic Slip it, so that's great. Kind of get the best of both worlds for us here. I'll just kill it now. I could try to wait to kill it until we have a Sadistically on, like a Shambler or something, but I think I just want it dead. Swing for 4. Play a Sage. It might be bad because they could have a Krark and wipe their stuff. I could Sadistically on the Shambler, but I think that's premature. If they play a Krark and they try to activate it, then this is going to die with everything else, unless I like Tragic Slip our own creature in response to the Krark entering. But then if they get Death Touch, it's still bad. I don't know, it's kind of interesting. They got a bunch of card draw. We've cycled through a good amount of our deck and still have not seen a single Beetle, Feeder, or Vampire. We of course kept that swamp in hand specifically for a Refurb. Mission accomplished. They're not going to map, so they have like another draw 2 or a cast down or something. Another Shambler? I mean, that's interesting. I could play a Shambler, Sadistically that, and then attack, and if they block, maybe it grows. They could also just have a cast down for it, but I think we got to go for it. Like, we have no growers, no other threats. This is our way of trying to build a threat. But it looks like they might have the cast down. Go for the throat. Same difference. Well, I'm not going to Tragic Slip this, because if I do that and then I play a Chrysalis, I can't get through, and that seems bad, so I'll just let them trade if they want to do that, and then I'll still have the Tragic Slip for later. I mean, we're still dealing on 4 a turn. We're not in a terrible spot by any means, but it is precarious. If they get a Krark, we're going to lose. Or a Breath Weapon. Lembas to the top, and there's the Krark. And a map onto it to try to keep it alive. Tragic Slip in response, doesn't matter. They sack something. All I have left is a 1/1. Yeah, I mean, we might as well kill it. Lembas, plus they have a Fanatical Offering and a Refurb. Map onto that. Another go for the throat. Alright, we have lost. And the reason we lost was because we kept a hand that did not have any speed, and then we lost because they eventually got there. Like, they did not get there for a long time, and we were doing okay, but we just did not have a way to capitalize quickly enough. So that's why that type of hand doesn't work, and why I probably shouldn't have kept it. This one's okay. It's not amazing, but Also, they have 2 Go for the Throats from the sideboard, plus 4 cast downs, so that's kind of a lot of removal. We'll start with an Infestation Sage and pass. Beetle is decent. If I just play a Bloodthorn Vampire, it probably just dies to like a cast down. If I play a Beetle, it might do the same. I think I Shambling Guest and then I pass, and next turn I go for Beetle and Vampire. I have a Wellspring, so that way I can like grow the Beetle or whatever. I don't know. Okay, that's pretty good actually. So now we have Vampire and Beetle, and if they try to kill either one and we want to keep it alive, we can sack the Ghast to get a treasure and then stamina. It's not the best thing ever, but might be okay. Landscape. Alright, if they targeted the Vampire, I was probably going to Shambling Ghast, sacrifice Stamina the Vampire to keep it alive, plus grow the Beetle, but since they're targeting the Beetle, I actually don't think I want to do that, because I actually have... The Beetle would come back, but it wouldn't have any counters. Plus, I have 16 damage right now with the Sage, Shambling Ghast, Stamina, Glee on the Vampire. So all I need to get is any random creature for 1 mana, and we can just win. Actually, with the Shambling Ghast, it could even be a 2-mana creature, because this gets me back a mana. So, or another Sadistically, just about any way to deal a damage here. That'll do. Gorehound, Sadistically on the Vampire, Stamina on the Infestation Sage, Sacrifice. We're getting +3 for everything we sacrifice, and we now have 6 things to sacrifice. We can deal a total of 19 damage, I believe. Plus, we can Surveil. We're not going to have anything. Let's just get rid of that. Why not? Sack the Insect. Sack the Ghast. For a treasure token. Sack the Sage. Carrion Feeder. Why not? Let's leave that on top. Sack the Insect. Sack the Gorehound. And not skip through our combat phase. Attack for 19. And that's how you're supposed to beat Jund. 4-1. I wish I could control what my neighbors do, but unfortunately I can't, so the noise is going to continue until morale improves. 4-1 with the deck. Someone recently commented on my video that I feel like I'm the 4-1 king, because every video they've seen me play, I get a 4-1, and I feel that deeply in my bones. Obviously, 4-1's not a bad record, I'm not complaining. This deck was pretty cool. Snarling Gorehound, I think, has some potential. Like I said, I'm really interested to see what other cards we could fit in that could really take advantage of filling the graveyard quickly. I think Gurmag Angler could be a really cool one, because we could almost get a Gurmag Angler out on turn 3, depending on how many creatures we play quickly. If I'm thinking of that correctly. Maybe not, maybe turn 4, but like an early Gurmag Angler could be cool. Like I said, their other list that they've been running has some Unearths. Soul Shriek is cool. Still don't think it's the best thing ever, but it definitely worked better in this list that has a way to fill the graveyard. So I might have to experiment with this a little bit more and see what else we can do with it. But very sweet list, and always interested to try out new tech in Black Sack. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks to my $10 and up monthly supporters like Howard Granger, JDNPX, Halcast, Cody Cowell, Sty, Benedict, and DJ Vinyl. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you all next time.